In a quiet village, surrounded by green fields and warm sunlight, there lived a boy named Raghav. Life in the village was simple, but Raghav's was not. He lived alone with his mother, and from a very young age, responsibility rested heavily on his small shoulders. Every morning, long before the first rays of sun kissed the horizon, Raghav would wake up. While the rest of the village still slept peacefully, he would make his way to the fields. He plowed the soil, watered the crops, and worked tirelessly until his clothes were soaked with sweat and his hands ached with exhaustion. Only after finishing his demanding work did he return home, wash his face, and finally sit down to study. Raghav loved learning. Books were his escape, his source of hope. Knowledge made him feel like his future could be different, brighter than his present. But time was a relentless opponent. He had far fewer hours to study than the other students, yet he poured every ounce of his remaining energy into his books. The villagers admired his spirit. They often whispered to each other, "That boy is so intelligent and so hardworking. He will surely top his exams this year." Hearing those words filled Raghav with a quiet, unshakable determination. He didn't dream loudly or boast about his ambitions, but deep inside, he held on to a steadfast belief that he could succeed. Then came the time for his 12th grade exams, a pivotal moment in his young life. Raghav's routine became even more grueling. He worked in the sun-scorched fields during the day and studied late into the night under the dim, flickering light of a small lamp. His eyes burned with tiredness, but his spirit refused to give in. He believed his sheer effort would be enough to carry him through. When the results were finally announced, his world shattered. Raghav had failed one subject. The ground beneath him felt as if it had disappeared. The future he had so carefully imagined crumbled into dust. But the failure itself wasn't the deepest source of his pain. The real agony came from the people around him, the very same villagers who once praised him. Every morning, as Raghav walked to the fields, whispers followed him like a shadow. Cruel laughter cut through the air. "Look at the smart boy who failed. All that intelligence was useless after all. He couldn't even pass one simple subject." Their words were like sharp thorns, digging deep into his heart. Raghav said nothing, maintaining a stoic silence, but inside he was breaking apart, piece by piece. One evening, exhausted and heavy, with a sadness that felt too big for his body to hold, Raghav went to see his teacher, Karim. He was an old man with calm, knowing eyes and a voice that seemed to carry a profound sense of peace. Raghav stood quietly before him, the weight of his shame pressing down on him, and finally spoke. "Teacher," he began, his voice trembling, "people mock me when I walk through the village. They laugh at me. I can't tolerate it anymore." The teacher listened without a single interruption, his gaze patient and kind. When Raghav finished, he nodded slowly and said, "Raghav, tomorrow morning I want you to do something for me." Raghav looked up, a flicker of curiosity in his tired eyes. "What is it, teacher?" The teacher explained. "Take a large pot. Fill it completely with milk right to the very brim. Then, walk through the exact same path where people mock you. But you must remember one very important thing. Not a single drop of milk should fall." Raghav was confused. The request made no sense to him. How could this strange task solve his problem? But he respected his teacher deeply, so he agreed without question. The next morning, the village woke as usual. The sun rose gently over the fields, and the air filled with the sound of birds. Raghav took a large, heavy pot and filled it with milk until it was full to the very edge. The slightest tremor would cause it to spill. He held it tightly with both hands and stepped outside, his heart pounding. As he began his walk, the villagers gathered as they always did. Some whispered, some pointed, some laughed outright, some just stared with judgment in their eyes. But something strange happened. Raghav didn't hear them. His eyes were completely fixed on the pot of milk. His steps were slow, deliberate, and incredibly careful. His breathing became steady and rhythmic. All he could see was the shimmering surface of the milk. All he could feel was the heavy weight of the pot in his hands. The world around him faded away. The voices disappeared. The mocking faces blurred into an indistinct background. Even the loudest laughter felt distant, like a faint echo from another place entirely. He walked the entire path and reached the fields. He looked down. Not a single drop had spilled. Later that day, Raghav returned to his teacher and said, with a sense of wonder in his voice, "Teacher, I was so focused on the pot that I didn't hear anything they said on the way. I didn't see anyone." The teacher smiled gently, his eyes twinkling. "That," he said, "is the lesson. When your focus is deep and unwavering, the noise of the world loses its power. People's words cannot touch you when your mind is completely fixed on your purpose." Something shifted inside Raghav that day. A calm, quiet strength began to replace his fear and shame. He realized he had been giving more attention, more power to the villagers' voices than to his own goals. From that moment on, he decided to change. He returned to his studies, but this time with complete, undivided focus. He continued to work in the fields, but now with a sense of peace in his heart. He stopped reacting to the laughter and whispers. The village didn't change, but Raghav did, and that made all the difference. Slowly, his confidence returned. His fear faded away. His mind grew stronger and more resilient. One morning, as he stood watching the sunrise, the golden light touched his face, and he smiled, a genuine smile for the first time in a long time. He now understood a powerful, life-altering truth. When you focus on your goal, all the negativity, all the criticism, all the doubt simply becomes background noise. Just like a camera blurs everything behind the main subject, your focus blurs every distraction. So, if you are hurting because of what people are saying, if doubt and pressure are weighing you down, remember Raghav's story. Hold your dream in your hands like that pot of milk. Walk your path carefully. Stay completely focused. Let the noise fade into the background, because a focused mind is untouchable, and that is the true power of focus. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. We'll see you in the next video.